clear. Dawn to dusk is not a must when the light starts to dim.
Hey, Composing Gloves here, and today we are going to be doing a quick video on chord symbols. I'm just going to cover basic chord symbols because you will run into them. They will be things, and they're a lot simpler than they look. More advanced chord symbols are essentially just combinations of these simple basic ones. So, you already know about chords. I have popcorn stuck in my teeth. And you are familiar with how to construct them and how to make them. So, what is left here is just giving them official names. So you'll see up here that we have an F. It is very similar to figure bass in that when something is written out, we just assume that it is a major triad. So when it just says F like this, that's just F major. You could have F maj, but in Sibelius, I'm not a complete expert on how to put down the chord symbols quite right yet. So I could get it to say F though. So, and that means the same thing. F. If you type in F maj, it'll just replace it with F because it knows the commonness of this. So it's considered that. Now, just because it's an F major, so F will be in the bass. This is the root. So whenever the letter of the chord and the chord symbol gives you the note that all the intervals are built off of. And so this is an F major chord, and it's pretty simple. That's like an F major chord right there. Like, this is not news. Now, if you want to put something else in the bass besides the F, you could put, like, for example, I have an A in the bass on this one. So I put A, but I said I still want it to be an F major chord. So I put an A/F, and that means A in the bass, but I want it still to be F major. So it is the first inversion. This next one is a diminished chord. And so you see it's F, A flat, and C flat. And it is a diminished chord. It's just got a little circle. That's how you know it's diminished. Some might actually write out dim, like D-I-M. But the circle is very, very common. Something I didn't put on this, but I could, is if you had a half diminished seventh chord, there would be the same thing. It would say F with a circle with a line through it. So there would be a slash through the circle, meaning half diminished. Then we have this F plus. This is the augmented chord. So F, A, C sharp, and it's got a little plus. So whenever you have like an augmented chord, you'll see a plus. So if you had a 7, you could put a 7 over here. Here we have two examples of sevenths, and if you recall, I covered this in my seventh chord videos. So F major 7 is simply an F major chord with, you know, a major 7 in the scale. So it's spelt out maj 7. If it was minor 7, it'd be min 7 or F small m 7. You could also do this one as F capital M 7 because capital and lowercase are major and minor. Over here we have a seventh chord. It is it's a seventh, it's a dominant chord. And so this one is so common that it gets the 7 name. So it's F major 7. So the 7 is the F, so the 7 is attached to the chord. So whenever you see like an F7 or G7, they mean the dominant 7. They will always specify, like if it was an augmented 7 or whatever, a major augmented 7, you'd have like a little plus with the 7 and whatnot. Now we come over here, we have the sustain 2 and sustain 4. And it looks exactly like that. They say sus 2 or sus 4. This one puts them in parentheses. I've seen it without parentheses. It's pretty explanatory what it is. And so that's that. Now, musicians will look at these things very liberally. At least that's what I've noticed is they do not, these are not like, if you want to be specific, you're going to write down exactly what you want. But they often go along with melodies and something called lead sheets where only the melody's given and then the chords are given above the melody so they can improvise a part. People will often add sixths, sevenths, thirds. Well, not generally thirds. Thirds will already be there. But they'll add things. They'll add extensions. They'll change the intervals. They'll put the intervals up. And you can literally do anything. These are just the notes that are acceptable at that moment in time. And they'll do that to fit the style. So if it's a jazz player, you know, they'll add jazzy things. They'll add more sevenths. They'll do sustains. They'll do cool things. So that's that. It's really simple. It's pretty much what you've been saying out loud, only this is it in sort of a condensed form. And these are so much fun as a piano player. These are like the best to have at the top because I can look at the notes and think about them and play them, but it's a lot more brain power that goes towards doing that instead of being more creative. And so it's a lot better when they have the chord symbols up there. A lot of people can read chord symbols but stink at reading music. So they prefer chord symbols. That's why lead sheets are popular. So yeah, even basic musicians, they'll know major, minor. That's one thing I don't have on here, is a minor chord. If you want a minor chord, Let's see if it'll let me do it. F minor. See a little M. I've seen MIN before too, but it sort of has this autocorrect font thing going on. So you could, I've seen people also write this just as F too. They didn't write the inversions out, which, you know, that's not cool, but you don't have to, I suppose. So yeah, there was one that I could not get the thing to say. I think it was F sharp. Can I do an F sharp? I don't know. I'll figure this out eventually. But anyways, hopefully that was this was helpful. Hopefully you get chord symbols now. Now, of course, if you're watching this video to learn how to read chord symbols but have no idea what chords are, I'm going to refer you to like way earlier in the series where I cover chords. And if you don't know what scales are, then you're going to have to go look at those and all that stuff. But once you reach a point where you pretty much know what chords are, these are just great ways of summing things up. And they're also very helpful for analyzing things. There, you will run into, especially at this point, if you've gone through this series exclusively, is you'll run into things with passing tones and different chromatic movements in between chords that can sometimes make it confusing to identify what chord it is you're working with. And so those things will become more and more clear as we get farther along in harmony. But for now, this will do. So if you have any questions about this, let me know. Subscribe and have a blessed day. This is what I got. So as you can see, it's got three main modulation type things. They're all quite sharp, and the patch is a little involved. So I'll probably try and make something, but it very likely won't turn out like this one did, because it was